We have another Jana has some insight to share video this week with special guest Poe. Poe, how are you feeling? He just showed you his butthole. Oh, you know how I always tell you guys when I feel compelled to talk about something, like I have to talk about it. I have to talk about it. Everything goes out the window, all planned, and I'm just like, no, I really like the universe needs me to talk on this subject. And that happened to me earlier. Initially, this week I wanted to give you guys a what I eat in a week video. And I still want to do that. I still am gonna do that. We're gonna film it, all right? One will be coming soon. But more importantly, I was answering emails and I don't know what happened, but something clicked in my brain where I was just like, I need to speak on navigating adult friendships because that is a very complicated area for me. And I've talked about this a little bit over on Instagram stories. I even touched on it on Threads. I made a thread about it. I don't know what that was about. But I've been reading the book Let Them by Mel Robbins. I'm really fortunate. My sister got the book. She read it. She said it was very transformative. And then I was like, girl, like, give me the book. Let me read it. And she's letting me read it. And just to kind of give you a little synopsis, like super, super, super surface level, the ideas around the theory in this book that's spoken about is like the let them theory that was developed by Mel Robbins. And it pretty much is a way for you to cope with what other people are doing that then impact you. Because even when you are working so wholeheartedly at like self-help and bettering who you are, oftentimes we still struggle with dealing with our reactions to what other people say to us and throw our way. In short, the practice is, if there is something that upsets you, makes you feel left out, brings up this emotion within you that someone else did, you first say let them. So let's say I had a friend that went on vacation with another friend and she didn't think to invite me. Maybe I would see that on social media and feel left out, question my friendship with her, things like that. So the idea is, let's say a circumstance like that arises, you say, let them go on vacation without me. And then there's a second part to that where you then say, let me, right? Because when you say let them, you stop worrying about what other people are doing. But when you say let me, you focus on the thing that you can control. Before I read this book, I kind of on my own was adopting the let them process. This past year, I lost like my oldest friendship right before my wedding. And I've just been really struggling with navigating friendships within, my career space and just having friends as an adult. Like, I'm not someone with many friends. And that's always been an insecurity of mine. And so when people who I thought were my friends did something that wasn't very kind to me, I oftentimes was very stuck on it, right? I'm like, but why would they do that? Why don't they like me? Why don't they get along with me? And it really it eats away at me. I realized that was such a problematic way of me thinking that after I lost my long-term friend, I really was like, okay, I have to really work on this on my own. So I started, without knowing, doing the let them, right? Like, just to disconnect myself from them. Like, that's not my problem kind of things. So when my oldest friend told me that, she wasn't going to come to my wedding, and the only reason she told me was because I reached out because I hadn't heard from her, I really was just like, okay. And I let her feel that way. But what I didn't do was figure out how I then was going to proceed. And instead, I had a habit of holding on to a lot of just animosity and just all this stuff. So that's a little bit about that theory. And so that's kind of just had my wheels turning lately. I just I felt compelled to talk about making friends as an adult because it's something that I'm really, really navigating. And I know I'm not the only one that's navigating this hardship. It's hard out here. Finding friends and feeling comfortable in new adult friendships is actually harder to me than it was when I was dating. So I don't know what that's about. If I look back on kind of the friends that I had or people that I thought were my friends, I found that I was seeking adult friendships that gave me some sort of validation. Like, A lot of it stemmed from insecurity. I found that I placed a lot of importance on being friends with people that were like successful and pretty and popular, right? And I think a lot of that is because maybe in middle school and high school, I felt like an outcast, and I felt like I had my own issues with friends. And I think a lot of that, and the reason I did that was because I didn't feel those things about myself. I didn't feel like I was pretty. I didn't feel like I was someone who people would desire to be a friend to. I didn't feel like I was someone that people looked at and said, oh, Jaina, like she's really successful. And so I was looking for friendships in the wrong places. And I was finding these quote unquote friends that really didn't like me. Like, let's be so for real. Like, I think that people tend to be friends with people friends friends with people that they don't even like, because like there's something else that they gain from that relationship. And so like maybe they're feeling the same way towards me that I'm feeling towards them, and I'm like, I'm seeking validation, I feel better around you because you're XYZ, and they're like, I'm seeking validation and I feel better because you're XYZ. And like the two people don't even know that they feel the same way, but it's not a healthy or correct way to start a friendship. So I want to say starting 2022, I really was revisiting my friendships from 2022 to 2024. Those 2 years, I was really diving deep, trying to figure out like who's worth being a friend to and who's not. And I think the first thing that I did was realize, what do I value about myself, right? And the first thing I value is how genuine I am. And I've always said that I am not a fake person. What you see online is what you get in person. I am genuine, and I say that, like I say that with my chest. Like, I am genuine. So first was, okay, do I feel like I have people around me that are maybe ingenuine or don't have my best interest in mind? Because that's one thing about me, is when I'm your friend, I genuinely have your best interest in mind. I care for you, and I am willing to carry our friendship on my back if there's ever a time that I have to. Kind of the first area where I would say I purged a lot of friendships and relationships began to kind of dwindle was girls I was friends with that were in the same field as me, so fellow content creators. And it makes me sad sometimes because I'm like, damn, like it really would be nice to have content creator friends, because my friends just really like don't fully understand what I do. I don't think unless you live this life that you really get all the work and effort and all the nuance that goes into being a content creator. And I realized that a lot of these girls I was friends with, they were almost like an unspoken engagement group, if that makes sense. Like, people want to be other people's friends just for like the growth in their own engagement in this industry, because of if you have more followers, or just like if you're close on social media with somebody, they're going to make sure they're liking all your stuff and commenting on all your stuff and maybe even sharing it with their audience and all that. Which, yes, when you have friends you love, you support their endeavors wholeheartedly. But I started to realize that a lot of content creators specifically weren't real friends to me or even to each other, because what they cared about was just like the networking aspect of it and the idea of just being connected to this person and just having their contacts or whatever it is you could provide professionally to them as a fellow creator. So in 2022, 2023, I lost a lot of friends within the creator space and really distanced myself from like a good group of them. And they did the same to me. And I think whereas I was doing it from a stance of like, I want to only be around genuine people and I want to be around people that value me for me and not for what I have to offer, I think they then distanced themselves because I didn't have and I wasn't providing what they wanted anymore, because I realized maybe they weren't as genuine as they initially came off as. So that was kind of like the first step in this transformative friendship journey for me, was figuring out, okay, do my friends like me for me, or do they like me for what I have to offer as a person? Like, that is the first step. And then as things progress, I started to really think about, at the end of the day, you really are, like, the people you surround yourself with are a reflection of yourself. One thing I realized, and that is important to me, is that like different personality types are one thing. Everyone has a different personality type. But one thing that I really feel is it formulates and it develops a really true and good friendship is like, is this person complementary to me as a whole? And do they uphold similar values as me? And the reason I say that is because, let's say there was someone who was a friend and you had a lot of fun with them. They genuinely were like a good time, lots of giggles, lots of fun, like really good time. But then you started to notice patterns. You realize when you guys were together, and like gossiping is one thing. Like, girls, I love the tea, I love to gossip. But one thing I will never do is like shit talk people, like really, really bad, especially if I don't fully know them. And especially because I'm always the type of person to assume like someone's got something going on that no one knows about. And and let's say that friend you realized wasn't just like chismosa gossiping, but was just like really talking shit about people. And then you'd see them with those people that they were then talking shit about. And you're just like, that worries me, right? Because what if I'm also on the other side of that, where like now she's doing that but about me to the person that she was just talking about. So with that said, I realized, okay, friendships for me, like I need to really like love who they are as a whole. And like, that's not even friendships, that's relationships, right? Like, I love every single one of Sean's flaws. I love him as a whole. I love him. And I think that friendships should have that same like unconditional, like, oh my God, I love everything about you. Even your quirkiness, even like whatever, like you're still a good-hearted person. You're still a good person putting positivity and like joy into the world. And like, I love that. So then the second phase for me, and I hate to say phases because it really did happen so naturally, but when I look at it, objectively speaking, this was like the second big thing for me to realize about friends. And it was that you should only want friends to surround you that like genuinely are just like good people and withhold similar values and things like that. And I say that not saying all my friends have to be clones of me, but like I know we have a similar moral compass, and I think that that's really important. The third thing that I learned about friendships is that like when I lost my oldest friend right before my wedding and we had our whole friend breakup moment, looking back, I was like, there were a lot of signs that our friendship should not have been continuing on. I really realized like all relationships, friendships, romantic ones, they should always feel like there is 100% effort being applied. And some days you might be giving 60, your friend might be giving 40. It might be 50-50, 80-20, but like it should always feel like the friendship's at 100. And I was seeing so many signs that like we were like drifting apart. Our values, like I spoke on, like having that same moral compass, like that was different. I started to realize that like she wasn't prioritizing me as a friend the way I was her, and you know, like would go months and months without talking to me. And then when we would talk, it would only be, it felt like every time we spoke, she never asked how I was doing. It was always me wanting to learn more about her life. And then specifically, like the way she talked about her life felt like it was intentionally to come across as like being braggadocious, which like I'm happy for my friends' wins always. But I also think to have a true, real friendship, there needs to be a level of transparency and the ability to be vulnerable. My best friend, she's seen me at my lowest. She's seen me at my highest. We tell each other everything, and it's a no judgment zone. It's nothing but honest feedback and fun and just like helping each other grow. And she really showed me that that is what a relationship should be. She's like the mold of like really like this is what a healthy adult friendship looks like. I don't have to see you every day. I don't have to talk to you every day. But whenever we're back together, things are just normal and great. And we literally are we are literally each other's cheerleaders and we want to see each other win. My wedding was February 22nd, 2024. So it's been about a year of really a dwindling friendship roster for me. And a lot of it happened through self-realization and just learning that, like, it is okay to let go of relationships that don't serve you any longer and that don't have that aren't harmonious. Lately, I've been navigating just like, what does it look like for me to bring on new friends? Like, how does it look like to make new friends? Because that's really hard. Now that I have really like found love within myself and learned like what type of friendships I value and want more of, now it's like, okay, but how do I meet these people? Right? And I think that's the hardest part. I remember like hearing people older than me always talk about like, making friends as an adult is so hard. It's so hard. And I never fully understood it. And here I am in it. And I'm like, yeah, like, where do I meet friends? Like, where do I meet friends? So, friendship applications are open. I just like wanted to ramble about this. So you guys know, like, you're not alone. If you're struggling with friendships or you're losing friends and things are shifting, like, I truly believe there's a lot of change in friendships and relationships when you start to go through a really big like shift for you, like a shift forward, and you tend to realize a lot of like old stuff that doesn't serve you gets left behind. And I think relationships are part of that, friendships are part of that, and you start to see clear every level up you go as you kind of evolve as a person. And I think that's just kind of like what happened. So I am just making a promise to myself to just like not hold on to old, not feel animosity, not feel regret, not feel guilt that I didn't mold into the person that needed to be friends with these people that I'm no longer friends with. I am just like really looking forward to putting myself out there in situations where like maybe I can meet fellow creators in my field that I can be really good friends with. Maybe I can meet people and have new hobbies and explore new things where like I meet like friends and can make friends there. But most of all, like, we have to all work on being so comfortable within ourselves and so comfortable with who we are and love ourselves so unconditionally that we're not looking for fulfillment through friendships. So it's kind of like I feel good about it because when I met Sean, my husband, I wasn't really looking. Like, I was going on dates here and there, but I didn't have any harsh expectations or standards or anything like that set. Like, I didn't go out on that date thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna meet my husband tonight. Like, I went out there because I knew that in order to love myself and feel comfortable dating, I just had to go date. So I think I'm approaching friendships as an adult the same way. Just like put yourself out there, make sure you're comfortable and you love yourself before anything. That way you're not letting any kind of like weird validation stuff you're looking for like slip through the cracks and form ingenuine friendships. And just like meet people, and whoever is meant to be in your life will be in your life. And I think that's just like what I'm approaching this as. But I would love to hear from you guys. How are you making friends? Do you guys have the same issue, or is this a uniquely Jaina problem? Because navigating friendships right now it's been a challenge for a few years, and I'm really open to like meeting new friends, and I'm really open to like finding like a really good core group of friends outside of like my best friend who's like, we're like this. So yeah, let me know if you guys have found that as an adult, you know, a lot of your friendships have changed and how you navigated it. And not only that, but how do you navigate potentially making new friendships? Where are you meeting friends? I think one thing that I've been doing is my community and confidence events. So I did one, I want to do more. And that made me really happy because it felt like an opportunity for everyone to kind of like meet and form real relationships. So I'm going to keep doing them. But yeah, let me know. What are your guys' thoughts? Comment down below. As always, thank you guys so much for just sitting here and listening to me ramble about everything that's on my mind. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know how you're finding friends, because it's hard out here as a 28 turning 29-year-old. I love you guys so much. I will see you in about a week.